in 2011.
Carrier command is about basically two carriers bursting each other in an archipelago of 33 different islands. 33 islands are made up of 6 different climatic zones. So for example, in this trailer here we can see wasteland background. Otherwise you encounter also volcanic islands, frozen islands, marshes, and yeah, various environments that the player can play in. And also it affects the way the units maneuver, you know, their ability to shoot, etc. So the carrier is mostly, you are the captain of the carrier, so you are sitting inside the carrier and you're controlling everything remotely from a seat within the carrier. So you are never putting yourself at risk unless the carrier itself is under attack. There are 2 gameplay modes in Carrier Command. There's the strategy mode and the campaign mode. So this is one of the icy islands. Now the first thing you'll notice is that there's no advanced targeting systems, nothing like that. That is purely intentional. We wanted to introduce basically a bit of like World War I style combat to an otherwise futuristic game. So just take him out over there. So as you can see, you know, it means the player has to kind of you know, use his own judgment when he's firing and things like that. Now this flashing indicator over here, that means I'm missing the technological upgrade to function correctly in frozen environments. So for example here, if I try and drive onto the frozen icy you know, icy terrain, I'm having real troubles actually moving around. As you can see, it's like there's ice going, there's snow going everywhere. I slip all over the place. If I start reversing and I try to go forward again, I just can't. You know, it's basically means that I'm having real troubles actually dealing with this environment. So so that's some aspects of Carrier Command which you will encounter, where you need to find technological upgrades or upgrades of those kinds on different islands. So I'll just jump to the map. So there's 3 main elements to Carrier Command. There's a strategic element, the tactical element, and the action element. The strategic element is determining which island to attack, how to set up your islands, and where to set your stockpile. The stockpile is where any items or units or equipment you create is moved. So basically nothing is created on the carrier itself. Everything is created on your islands and moved to the stockpile from where you can actually transfer it to your carrier. So as you can see down here, you can only have 4 aerial units, which are called the Manta, and 4 amphibious units, which are called the Walrus. Now, what I was showing you just then was a Walrus. Now, we kept only 2 types of units to keep it nice and simple, stick to the original Carrier Command from 1988, and but allow a large amount of customizability. So if I just go onto one of the other units on the carrier, I can see here it's got a repair gun and medium armor. I can you know, trade out the repair gun for, let's say, a flak, or give it a shell instead, things like that. Now, depending on the armor, it can carry different types of weapons. So for example, a laser can be mounted on no armor, which is like, you know, light armor. So depending, like, the advantage of different armors is, of course, you know, heavier armor means you can take more, however you move slower, and you know, your maneuverability is worse. But you can you can take more damage, and at the same time you can mount heavier weapons. So as you can see, I'll try and mount the shell, but it's not allowing me because it requires heavier armor. So if I put the medium armor, for example, I can mount the shell. So so that's another like element which is important to consider when attacking an island. Now there's 3 types of islands. There's mining islands, from which you get resources, production islands, which produce the weapons and the equipment which you need, and defensive islands, which you'd set at your front line to basically help you defend. So as you can see, there's 2 enemy islands here. So that's set as a defensive island to protect my you know, other islands from attack. Now, so strategic elements is linking the islands depending on, you know, the type or what's required at the time. So here you can see information about the production, resource, and the defense. So this is, for example, 10 units of production. So it's pretty good to set as a factory island, which it is set to, while it's got only 3 units of resource, so it would be quite useless as a mining island. Now you can set any island as a stockpile, but you can only have 1 stockpile. So the advantage of having a stockpile close to you is that you can transfer stuff to your carrier very quickly, However, you're presenting it to the enemy as a target. So it's right next to the enemy. They can easily attack it, and if they take your stockpile or destroy the command center, anything there you have there is lost or is given to the enemy. So that's one thing to consider. Now everything is real-time, dynamic. So the weather changes dynamically. The day-night cycles change dynamically. So you might come to an island and it might be nighttime and it might be raining. So you think, okay, well, not a great time to attack. So I'll come back later, or I'll just wait for the weather to turn better, or to at least for day, or something like that. So sailing from island to island is also in real time. However, there is of course a time warp option. So for example, if I just sail to this island, wait, sorry, I'll just sail, let's say over here. You can see the carrier making its way. There are no loading screens or anything like that. On slower systems, it will like have a slight loading time for when it actually has to load the terrain data. But otherwise, text is streamed, so it's quite quick. So I'll just head back there. Now it's moving very quickly, just in the preview, just so we don't have to wait for a very long time. So the carrier itself has different zones. So the lifts, if those are destroyed, you can't deploy your aerial units. If the docks are destroyed, you can't deploy your amphibious units. And if the superstructure is destroyed, well, you die. So you have to be careful. As I mentioned, your units are controlled remotely. You are inside the carrier. If you see the background, there's 2 people working there. That's what you're seeing as the captain sitting inside the carrier. So you're sitting looking at a screen. It's translucent and you can see through it slightly. So down here is the real-time preview. So this is what the captain can see basically always. So I can see what my units are doing. So I'll just have a look there. Okay, just jumping to that. So as I mentioned, the tactical element is also how to attack the island itself. Each island has a command center from which all the units on the island are controlled. They are remote as well. You do encounter infantry. You cannot deploy infantry, however, but you do encounter infantry of droids and people, but they are not controlled from the command center. They are remote. They are their own units. While any mantas and walruses that you encounter on the island, they're controlled from the command center. So this island in particular, its command center is over here, right there. So the tactical element is how you attack that. Now I'm near the enemy. As you can see, I can see only 1 or 2 enemies right now. That's what the carrier can see. Now, what I'll do, without any regard for the unit's safety, I'll just send them out just so I can get into a bit of combat. Now, you can give them multiple waypoints, things like that. You can tell them to attack certain units. I'll just send them to it. Okay. So as I'm sending them out, I can play it as a real-time strategy, just solely relying on the map, like you would play a real-time strategy, or I can just jump into the action myself and take over. Now, at any time, I can give it back to the AI. So let's say I defended something I needed to. I'm like, okay, well, it's all yours. Or I can switch to another unit if I need to. Now, I can also play it completely without the real-time strategy element by basically using a radial menu. So I can do undock all, and I can do assist. So everyone will follow me now, and I can lead the attack myself and do everything myself with my units behind me. So that's the strategy campaign. One other thing I will show you, so that's the real-time strategy element and the action element as well of the game. There is one more element, which is the first-person shooter element, only in the campaign, however. There are certain missions where it becomes necessary for someone to go onto the island by themselves and sort something out. So in this island in particular, there's my carrier, there's me. In this island, there's a shield covering unit production facilities. It has to be disabled. You do have a cruise missile, but it won't punch through the shield. So someone needs to go onto the island, into the interior of one of the bunkers, and disable the shield manually. Now, as part of the campaign, you are not meant to be the captain's carrier, the carrier's captain, sorry. But certain situations arise, and you become the captain. So you are a soldier, more or less. So you are the most combat experienced. So therefore, in this situation, for example, you do go out yourself. So this is one of the stealth missions. As you can see, I'm an infantry. So in this mission, you are completely alone. You are on the island. It's nighttime, as you can see, and you can either try and sneak your way, or you can try and shoot it. So up ahead, I've got some enemies. So I'll just start shooting at them. So as you can see, they started to go crazy. I'll just send a grenade their way. So pump that a little bit. So as you can see, it's quite you encounter quite different situations. Oh, die! Come on! There we go. So that's some of the first-person shooter missions. Another one, for example, is this one over here, Thermopylae. And in this one, you control a walrus. You are still as a person. So you do have other walruses to help you. In this mission, there's no remote control. You're there yourself. So if I jump out of the walrus, as you can see, I am a person running around. It's quite dangerous though, because you can easily die. So you can jump from walrus to walrus and take things as you wish. So that's one thing we've added to the campaign to kind of enrich the experience. And yeah, so that's the strategy game, the campaign. So that's Gaea Command. As I mentioned, it's a multi-platform game. It will be out for PC and for various platforms. Those platforms are yet to be confirmed, but it will be out in the first quarter of 2012. So I hope you enjoyed that.